But we begin with day 3 of the Democratic National Convention getting underway. Later today, Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz will formally accept his nomination. Former President Bill Clinton and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will also take to the stage to address the convention later tonight. Meanwhile, last night, second gentleman Doug Emhoff noted Thursday would be extra special for he and his wife. And former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle urged Democrats to unite behind Vice President Kamala Harris to defeat Donald Trump in November.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse. America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
All right. Joining me now is CBS News campaign reporter Shawna Mizelle. She has been following the Harris campaign all throughout the campaign season. She was there last night at the convention. So, Shawna, we've seen the sound bites. If people were not able to stay up late to watch President Obama deliver the keynote address of the evening, some are actually saying Michelle Obama's speech was the keynote speech of the evening. But can you describe what the mood was like in the convention? Because we saw the speeches, but I want to get a sense of that electricity that felt that it was crackling throughout the course of the night, but especially when the Obamas took to the stage.
Vlad, I think you described it perfectly. Last night was day 2 of the DNC, and the feeling in the room was electric. There was a lot of excitement surrounding not only former President Barack Obama, but also former First Lady Michelle Obama, and she certainly stole the show. We heard from the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, who actually sought to really tie a personal side of Harris and present that to the audience and everyone watching and listening across the country. And as you mentioned, he actually said that him and Harris will celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary tomorrow. But it was Michelle Obama who really came out with some really pointed lines aimed at Donald Trump, even using some of his words against him, like that black jobs line. And the people in the room were extremely excited. At times, some of the delegates stood up for the entirety of not only Michelle Obama's speech, but also Barack Obama's speech.
Yeah, Shawna, and so people understand what you just described, the former First Lady taking a shot at that use of the word black jobs, which is a term former President Donald Trump has used in his rallies, in his speeches, at a debate with Joe Biden, where he talked about migrants taking quote-unquote black jobs. And, of course, everybody's like, well, what is a black job? I think Michelle Obama defined it very, very clearly. In case you didn't know, now you know, in making that joke at the former president's expense. The question I have for you, Shawna, is what do we know about day 3? Who's going to be speaking later tonight?
It's day 3. Folks are still energetic, even though we were all up pretty late last night. And what we are going to hear tonight is all about Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, whom Harris has tapped to be her running mate and vice presidential pick. Walz is going to present himself to the audience and introduce himself to those who do not know him. And someone that we all know very well, former President Bill Clinton, will also grace the stage tonight and give remarks.
Shawna, before I let you go, there's something that I don't think has been sort of highlighted enough, which is something that I thought was remarkable, and I want to get your sense in talking to delegates and talking to voters what they think about this, which is not only was the convention where you are in Chicago packed to capacity, Vice President Kamala Harris wasn't even there. She was in another state, and she packed that stadium in another state to the gills. It's exactly the same location where Republicans held their convention just a few weeks ago. Just talk to me about that.
a little bit of a back and forth between the Harris campaign and the Trump campaign. You had J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate, going to the same cities and states that Harris was going to be in just a couple weeks ago. And last night, you saw Vice President Kamala Harris pack out the forum in Milwaukee where the RNC was held. Both events were completely packed. In fact, when they showed the Milwaukee event up on the screen, I was like, wait, is that us? And so Harris actually circled around in Air Force Two when she came back to Chicago last night for about 10 minutes because she wanted to be able to see her husband give those remarks. She's back in Chicago now, and we will wait and see what happens tonight.
And Shawna, the other thing that was sort of striking is in that what is generally a ceremonial a moment at a convention where the states announce their delegates, who the delegates are throwing their votes in for, in this case, Kamala Harris. It was there was a stark contrast between how it happened at the RNC and how it happened in Chicago. Even, I think everybody is still talking about the moment when Georgia announced their delegates and Lil Jon came out. I mean, it just, you had a DJ Cassidy up there that was spinning songs that described or that were at least in reference to those states who were delivering votes for those delegates.
The DNC had Lil Jon and the RNC had Kid Rock and Hulk Hogan. But also at the DNC, we saw a lot of notable figures like Spike Lee, who was with the New York delegation when they made their announcement. We even saw Eva Longoria with the Texas delegation last night. So it's definitely been a star-studded event. But I will say that electricity in the room definitely started when Lil Jon walked down those stairs saying, "Turn down for what?"
It makes you almost forget that President Biden was relegated to after prime time the night before. All right, Shawna Mizelle on the campaign trail for us in Chicago, covering day 3 of the DNC. We'll check in with you a little bit later, Shawna. Thanks so much.